mean, they win an absolute mammoth of a game to go up 3-0 against the Carolina Hurricanes, a win away from the Stanley Cup Final. Could you imagine the type of psychedelics that a lot of us would have thought we were on if somebody told us a month ago, 2 months ago, dare I say 5 months ago, that the Florida Panthers would be one win away from the Stanley Cup Final against the juggernaut Carolina Hurricanes? Yes, Matthew Tkachuk has completely Frankenstein this team to make them play the way he does, and man, has it changed their identity. Yes, Brandon Montour has morphed into an amazing top defenseman in the NHL. And
man, I told you the Tkachuk trade just changed everything.
Yes, Sam Reinhart, who was Jack Eichel's right-hand man for all the criticism in Buffalo, quote-unquote, you can't win with these guys. But the biggest surprise and the most shocking revelation of this whole playoffs is Sergei Bobrovsky. You don't need me to tell you. But again tonight, a 1-0 shutout in a game that honestly for the Florida Panthers was a huge one to take. I cannot believe, honestly part of me can't believe it, because Bobrovsky has literally been insane, out of his mind for the entire playoffs. But here we go again. I mean, this one was all him. He's the reason the Florida Panthers...
So if you told me like 2 months ago, I wouldn't believe you. If you said, and then if the Florida Panthers win the next playoff game, they go to the final round. I'll be like, no.
Won this game here. How many times have I said that? Somebody tell me in the comments down below, how many games has Bob stolen this playoffs? He's been on the case, Jay Onrait. And I tweeted about it about a week ago, before this series started, that the Florida Panthers were going to be the 2023 Stanley Cup champions, man. They have the Disney magic. Yes, you've got the hot goalie that you got to ride. That's almost essential.
Let's talk about the Anaheim Ducks, baby. They're literally the Mighty Ducks in this scenario.
To win the cup, unless you're the Colorado Avalanche last year. But also, you have to have the magic, the fairy dust, for almost all of these players, not just the Tkachuks and the Barkovs of the world, who of course were playing great, but also guys like Radko Gudas, Anton Lundell, Eetu Lesterinen. These are the types of guys that you need crazy buy-in from in order to go on a deep run, and they need to be feeling it just as much as the top guys are. And are they ever? And it made me think, man, I mean, let's go back and rethink this narrative of, the Toronto Maple Leafs choked in round 2. I don't think that's the case anymore. Look at the Carolina Hurricanes ending up in the exact same position. It wasn't Toronto. There's something in the water in Sawgrass Mills over there with the Florida Panthers. There's something crazy happening there, voodoo, that's going to affect, I think, any team that would go in there for a playoff series. And give them crazy credit, man. I mean, this team, they're skilled, they're fast, they play hard, and man, are they fun to watch. I mean, this has got to be one of the most entertaining 1-0 games I've seen in a long time. They're a fun-to-watch team. I'm not saying I'm cheering for them. I'm not going to come out here and say, I'm a Florida Panthers fan. No.
This happen.
I got a great idea. This is who I want to be right now. Just be a boss.
There's going to be a lot of negativity in the city. Why can't you?
Cole Caulfield is one of my favorite players in the entire league. The dude has an electric shot, he's super skilled, and he's got a ton of charisma in the media, and by all accounts, he's awesome with fans, which honestly, you need if you're playing in a market like Montreal. And let's be honest here, I think he's the best pure goal scorer that the Montreal Canadiens have had for a decade and a half. But listen to me when I say this, Habs fans, his contract situation is extremely interesting right now. And look, he's going to sign. Don't be worried about all this stuff I'm hearing about, he might go elsewhere, you're going to get an offer sheet or whatever. No. He's going to sign. He's going to be a Montreal Canadian next season. That much is a given. However, this one contract can set up for the next, 8 to 10 years, first of all, how long Cole Caulfield's going to be a Montreal Canadian for, and second of all, how good the team is going to be able to be. And let me give you a couple of examples to prove my point here. So Matthew Tkachuk, back in 2019, signed a 3-year extension with the Calgary Flames. We've been over this. That was maybe one of the biggest mistakes in Flames franchise history. He gets to that 3 years. He says, oh, right, I'm a free agent. I have some say here. Yes, I'm an RFA. It's not UFA, but I'm a free agent. I have some power. I don't have to go back to Calgary if I don't want to. And now I can get the major bag after getting paid $7 million in that 3-year bridge deal. Obviously, we all know what happened next. I don't need to talk about it again for the 1,000th time. Austin Matthews in 2019 signed a 5-year extension with the Toronto Maple Leafs, basically rolling out the red carpet. Here you go, Austin. Let's walk you right down to free agency. I'll dust it off for you. And now the Leafs are in a really nervous situation where next year, this dude's a free agent. Kyle Dubas just left, who was honestly the guy who would have had a real awesome chance to sign Austin Matthews. And now, Leaf fans are going to be nervous for the next year and a bit, unless Austin signs right now, which, why would he? And over there now, they've got a repeat of the Johnny Gaudreau last year in Calgary fiasco. And if Austin, even if he does decide to re-sign with the Maple Leafs, they're going to have to sign him way above market value in order to keep him from teams like LA and San Jose. But here's the other side of the coin here, and let's see if you can figure out which one the Habs should be absolutely praying to Maurice Richard to do with Cole Caulfield
If
here.
Arizona's not a team next year, does that mean they don't get Austin Matthews? How did I just realize that?
Well, Tim Stützle, at 20 years old, signed an 8-year extension with the Ottawa Senators worth $8.35 million per season. And that was before Stützle had an explosive season in the NHL. It was always still kind of, oh, what's this kid going to be exactly? We know he's going to be good, but just how good? Nope, the Senators said, you know what? We're going to get out in front of this, and we're going to sign him to the big money because it's going to help us save money in the long run. The New Jersey Devils took a 21-year-old Jack Hughes and decided, hey, you want 8 years times $8 million? Here you go, right there, bang. And that was before he had his amazing season in the NHL that he just finished having here. And bang, now $8 million for 8 years for Jack Hughes. That seems to be an incredible steal for the New Jersey Devils. And both of these guys are locked up until they're 29 years old. And honestly, they already do look like two of the best value contracts in the NHL, but they're going to keep looking even better. That's what the Montreal Canadiens need to do with Cole Caulfield. They cannot let him do the Matthew Tkachuk bridge deal or the Austin Matthews, roll out the red carpet for me to free agency here. Because if they do, and let's say Cole signs between 3 to 5 years at $8 million, because, hey, listen, Cole hasn't scored 30 goals in the league yet. I know he was on track to blow that up this past season, but he got injured. He hasn't scored more than 26 goals in the National Hockey League. The Habs could absolutely say, oh, we're in a bit of a cap crunch here. Here's 3 years times $8 million. What do you say, Cole? Let's do it. But then when that contract's up, Cole could easily see a team that he's playing on that, hey, you know what, the Habs aren't as good as I hope they'd be, or, ooh, it would be really nice to play out the spotlight, or his mind can start to wander like Kachuk's did, and maybe like Austin is doing right now, to other places where the
Instant Wonder. I think Instant Wonder. Chuck just went on that a classic car ride that I talk about all the time with his wife, and his wife was like, no, you should go as free agency. You earn more money, blah, 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 ha, ha, blah, blah.
Ass might be green.
I
Whereas
bet
if you lock him up for an
this
extra,
is
what,
the channel that
$2 million
we
maybe?
talk
If
about.
you sign him 8 years, $9 million, or dare I even say $10 million, which sounds crazy for a guy who has a career high of 26 goals, this could end up saving you major money in the long run. And the fact that it doesn't give Cole the freedom to kind of be like, oh, the Habs aren't that great, let's check on what the Florida Panthers are doing right now, that means that you will probably get Cole Caulfield to stay a Montreal Canadian for much longer than if you bridge him. I know it's different than how the NHL used to be. It used to be that you paid guys for what they've done for you. Look at Kane and Taves' contracts. Thank you for your service is what that $10 million was to those guys. Now you have to try to predict, and yes, it's dangerous because you could end up paying $10 million to a guy who's injury prone or who was overhyped or something, but you have to take that risk in order to keep great players on your team. Because honestly, right now, the league is not fair in terms of teams like Vegas, like Florida, like Tampa, like LA. These are the teams that can sign guys no problem, and they have an unfair advantage. Not just the state tax, but the weather, the fact of being able to go to Starbucks without getting recognized 50 times. Like, they have unfair advantages. So Canadian markets especially need to get out in front of this and need to find a way to keep their players locked up long term. Yeah, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that matter because I think it is crucial. And I'm hearing a lot of people saying, oh, well, I mean, with the stalemate that Cole and the Canadians are at right now, it might just be beneficial to sign him to a bridge deal, $7 million. We'll deal with it later. Trust me, you do not want to deal with it later. This is when you do the Tim Stützle.